All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We're so glad you're here with us today. It is the top of the hour. It's 3 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Um, First of all, just wanting to welcome everyone to today's webinar. We are so excited to have you with us. We have folks registered from around the world, around the US, with us today, and we're so excited to share Building Future Ready Classrooms this year to help us kick off the school year with our new and improved Define platform. My name is Andy Schaefer, and I'm pleased to be joined today by our Global VP of Product and Marketing, Lisa Wolf. Now, before we get started, just a few housekeeping items, a couple of commonly asked questions. First of all, please feel free to use the chat to ask any questions, and we'll certainly get to all of those. Also, everyone will indeed receive a copy of this webinar along with the slides that we are sharing today. And also, in addition to any questions you have, we'd love for people to just to volunteer in the chat where you're from, and perhaps any priorities or goals you have around career connected, deeper learning this fall. So, to take a quick look at the agenda, we really do have a little something for almost everyone today. For our curriculum instruction friends, we have exciting updates around Define Learning. For those in CTE or CCMR attendees, or if you're just interested in bringing more career-connected learning opportunities to every classroom, we have exciting updates around Define Careers. And for those of you looking to track progress around your portrait of graduate objectives or anything else that may be important to you, we will share some Define Goals updates. We'll also look at the exciting updates for students on our updated platform, including some of the AI-fueled opportunities around career exploration and career experiences as well. And finally, for our professional learning enthusiasts, we have great new courses in Defined Academy to share. So we'll close out today with answers to your questions. We're also going to share some additional opportunities to connect with career-connected, deeper learning experts later this fall. So we want to thank all of our existing partners for joining us today. And we also realize there's some folks getting to know us for the first time. So we want to share just a little bit about Defined and what makes us tick. Of course, you can read what our mission is on the screen. We like to share that we're in the business of helping students answer the question of, why am I learning this? We also are really passionate about informing students' decisions for post-graduation and giving them as many career opportunities, career experiences along the way, so that when they're walking across the stage with their diploma, they're also walking across the stage with a great idea of what they want to do next, and also leaving with those critical thinking and problem solving skills and other key skills that are going to help them be successful in whatever lies next for those students. So how do we do it? At Define, we really focus in on deeper learning, and our 4 pillars of deeper learning. If you're looking at content from Defined, if you're looking at projects from Defined, it's going to be career connected. It's also going to involve future ready skills, as I mentioned. It's also going to be authentic in nature as we put students in real world situations to solve problems. And it's also going to be project based. We're going to be asking students to publish their work. We're going to be asking them to put in a portfolio and solve problems with other students. So as I mentioned, we have a little something for everyone today. Define Learning is our K through 12 library of standards aligned projects. Define Careers is our K through 12 library of career experiences, helping students decide what's next for them after graduation. And at Define, we truly believe this is a K through 12 journey. Defined Academy, as I mentioned, is the professional learning that help teachers thrive in this type of teaching and learning environment. And Define Goals is going to help you measure what's most important to you. So Lisa, with the slide in the background, which gives a little bit of the different components around Define Learning and Define Careers, I have a question for you. And can you walk us through what users will see when they log into the new platform this fall?
Yes, thanks for that great introduction, Andy. I'd be happy to. So thank you to all for joining. We're thrilled to have you, and I'm so excited to be able to walk you through the platform today. So what you're seeing right now is our brand new platform with all of our components and all of our solutions right there at your fingertips on this in this new platform. So I'm logged in as an educator and I'm in one of our demo accounts. So this is going to have everything that we've got. If you are an existing user, you may or may not see some of these different parts. It'll just depend on what your school or district has purchased, but you're going to get to see everything here today. So right here is the educator dashboard, where the first thing that you're going to see along here horizontally is all of the different products that we offered. So Andy had mentioned already, we have defined learning, which is going to be in our learning tile, defined careers, which would be in our careers tile, even though everything we do is focused through the lens of a career. Our computer science and STEM package, which we actually have a promo going on right now through the end of 2025 for new and existing customers. Let us know if you want anything for that, as well as Defined Academy. We have a lot of really great new offerings for Defined Academy within that tile that we're going to walk through later on. Now, over here in this very first tile is going to be custom collections. We'll talk a little bit more about that later as well, but that is where any sort of a catalog that has been customized, whether it was for defined goals like Andy mentioned, or if we're just trying to pull together a number of different pieces across anywhere in the platform. We're really excited with having this all within the same unified platform experience, whether you're using something from Defined Learning or Defined Careers or Defined Learning Computer Science and STEM. We're able to build these custom catalogs too, so that if you want to have everybody doing the same thing, and we'll dig in a little bit different, a little bit more later. So that is going to be our first look at the dashboard, are going to be all of these tiles, and we'll dig into that here in a little bit too. You'll see down here at the bottom, we've got any recently visited tasks. And this is again, bringing across from all of our offerings and whatever your school or district has purchased, as well as any of the different courses that are within those different offerings. Along the left, you're going to notice our navigation menu. We're right now on our home screen. We've got all of our reports here in the reports tile, any of the performance tests that you've used, assigned, or customized. My classes, which would be set up and rostered however it is set up within your school or district. A new feature that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, the grade book. So I'll come back to that. Messages, as well as the educator portfolio, which I have a different example for that. So that's going to be your left navigation menu. And then again, since everything is in this nice streamlined unified platform, you can search across all of the offerings that you have access to all at once. So we do have multiple search functions here at the top. You can search by keyword if you'd like, by career, however you'd want to do this. I'm just going to say like expressions. You can search by that way. See anything that has expressions in it. You can click right on the magnifying glass to do some searching, or you can also search by standard. So, and I'm using a Colorado demo account, but of course, all of Defined Learning is aligned to all of your statewide standards, as well as all of the other national sets of standards too. So that is just a brief overview. Of course, at the top, you'll see we've got translation here for English and Spanish. And then on the student side, we have the Read Speaker tool built in, which has close to 18 different languages that they're also going to be able to use when utilizing that Read Speaker tool. So that is just a brief overview of everything that you're going to see on that home screen, along with that welcome message as an educator logs in.
Well, thanks, Lisa. Appreciate that. And maybe starting with defined learning, which so many have used for so long. How has defined learning been enhanced in the new platform for back to school?
Yeah, let's take a look at this. So if I go right into the Define Learning tab here, you're going to see right within here, this is going to be our standard or core offering, where it's going to have all of our core subjects, as well as a couple of other different catalogs that educators will have access to. So you'll see it all broken down by all of the subject areas with a little bit of information about each one of those right there on the tile. I'll go right into math here since it's first. Within that subject area, you're going to see all of the different, we call these courses. Of course, like you already saw in the very beginning, you can search for anything that you want, and you can use these, in whatever class you're teaching. But we've done our best to make it as easy as possible to find projects that are going to work best with whatever it is that you're using within your classroom. So these are going to be all organized by topic and grade level and what a typical math class would be. And we did that across all of the content areas if you're looking at social studies or science or ELA as well. Then once we dig into any one of these, I'll just go right into, we'll say like grade 6 math. Within that particular course, you're going to see on the right the unit outline. This is structured how a typical 6th grade math course would look like. Again, you can go in whatever order you would like for any of this and pick and choose. That's just another way that it makes searching for a project easy. But you'll see this unit outline that's going to outline all of the different major topics that are within that course. And then with underneath each unit, you're going to see each one of the projects. And that project is going to be named by the career that it is representing. So, in math, I know I'm a former high school math teacher myself. When am I ever going to use this? Was one of the most common questions I got. So this was always really nice. This would have been great in my classroom to be able to really showcase that. So down below over here, you're going to see all of those. So if you want to do a deeper dive, you can also click. Makes it very easy to navigate. So if we want to go in again, and we're going to explore one of these different projects, let's take a look at one of these. We wanted to see, for example, food truck entrepreneur. In our new platform, and we've done a number of enhancements and updates to just the viewing experience of all of this, as well as a number of features on the customization type side for educators to be able to put this in front of students as well. But you're going to notice a couple of things. We have our nice table of contents, which is going to show the entire slideshow that we have over here, and I'll walk you through that as well. And for educators, you're going to have a little bit of additional information down here. You're going to have the introduction. You're going to see all of the different products that are associated with that. And with each one of our products, of course, there is a rubric that is specific to that particular product. All of the check-in questions, any resources, any standards, as well as any connections to our Defined Careers platform right there. But let's go ahead and dig into the actual slideshow as well. So for all of these, you're going to notice it's going to be a larger visual to be able to do this, as well as a much easier way to show the navigation on the left. Got all of our videos in there, our real world connections, the check-ins, and we'll show what this looks like on the student side a little bit later, but we've enhanced these a little bit, and we've made it so that they are, students can reply right within the slide to make it much easier for them to access and reply to those. Kind of going through here, we've got our products, and the same thing goes for the students being able to submit the products right within the slide. This will make it much easier when you are demonstrating this as a teacher in your classroom as part of your instruction, or on the student side when they are looking, they can take a look at that rubric that we already saw. We've got the submissions right there, as well as the status that a student would see on their side too. So those are some of the highlights of what has been updated in terms of the slideshow for the Defined Learning product. So that is a look at that. We'll see this a little bit more closely a little bit later as well. But that, I just wanted to make sure that you'd seen all of that. And another thing that we've enhanced, you saw the check-ins in terms of how students can submit those, as well as the products. We've also enhanced how teachers can be grading all of that within Defined Learning, which we're really excited about as well. So I mentioned over here in the left navigation earlier, the gradebook. This is a brand new feature. If you were on the webinar back in May when we were giving kind of a preview, we had mentioned this was coming, and we're really excited to showcase this fall as a new feature here. And I've got a number of different things here. But you'll notice at the top, we've got a number of different filters. So as teachers are going through after they've assigned a product or assigned any sort of the projects from Defined Learning, and this is also for Defined Careers too, but you can go in, select by class, select by date range, or select project. I'm going to go down to this one because I've got a lot more information. This will show all of the students that I've selected within that date range and everybody who has been assigned to that project. So at a glance, you can see very easily what needs graded with the grade now, anything that has been graded, and anything that needs started. So this is very easy for educators to go in and click right on the submission, leave feedback, accept or reject. If I want to accept that, you can see the answer right there. Then I can either go down to the next student if I wanted to grade all of the same checking questions all at the same time, or I can go across to the next submission that that student had done. So very easy to navigate, and then you can always click back out and go wherever you want. So really trying to make the submission process on the student side much more streamlined, as well as that grading and getting that feedback for educators as well. I'll just show you very quickly what it looks like on the product side. Those rubrics that we showed already, those are going to be right here. You can see what the submission was, any upload that the student had done. Teachers can go in, grade that right there, and click save. And then it's right in their gradebook as soon as the next time I refresh my screen. So that we're very excited about from the update side on Define Learning, being able to have that nice streamlined interface, being able to submit both the check-ins and the products by themselves. We also had a new navigation. If you noticed, I was using those next and previous buttons. Sometimes our arrows would get lost. So it's just a much more enhanced user experience in terms of all of that from the display, as well as from the grading component as well. So those are some of the very key overview and items that came from Define Learning over the summer.
Thanks, Lisa. And before I ask you the next question I wanted to ask you, I'm just going to check. There's a couple of questions that came through. I'll just make sure that I'm going to answer those really quick. There was a question about multiple languages and just mentioning that when a student logs into the platform, we're looking at the teacher view it right now, but when a student logs in, they can switch the language to dozens of languages to read it and also have it read aloud to them as well. There was a question about content alignment to things such as the science of reading. I just to answer that question, we do align to all various curricula and make it available in the custom content area, which you'll see a little bit more about. And then there was another question from George around 9 through 12 content. And we do have much content 9 through 12, middle school, elementary, of course. Out of the box, you get access to everything. You can simply choose to have displayed or utilize the grade level content that you'd like to have available for you. So just wanted to get to those really quick. I know there'll be other questions as well, which we'll get to. Before I do, and I get a chance to read through the chat again, Lisa, I wanted to ask you if you wouldn't mind maybe talking about defined careers, because previously we have many defined careers users, and the experience has been going to a separate URL, a separate platform that we're connected. But what are some of the changes, and what can users expect in the new platform for defined careers?
Yeah, this is a really, really exciting. I'm excited about all of the updates that we've done, but it is wonderful. In the past, we had the portfolio was shared between Define Learning and Define Career, so everything that a student was doing was showing up at the same place. But they were two different experiences and two different links where they had to log in. And now you can see it is right on the same dashboard. And then we've also streamlined all of the different career projects that we had within Defined Careers to make them a much more similar user experience for both the students and the teachers. And a number of times we would hear, gosh, we wish we could customize in Defined Careers like we could in Defined Learning, and now you can. So I'm going to walk you through what this looks like within Defined Careers and kind of a lot of the exciting changes that we've done. So you notice after I click on Define Careers, you're going to notice three tiles at the top, and we'll get to some of this here in just a little bit. The career assessment, we've updated that as well. We had the pathways matching assessment in our first version of Define Careers, and now we have the career matching assessment where we're matching students specifically to careers. And we've also added an abilities component where students can self-report on their abilities to really tighten up even more specific careers and a good matching component for them. We're going to come back to these other features here in a little bit as well. But you'll see in terms of the tiles where Define Learning, we would go into the a specific, content area. Here we've got this broken down by grade band. So this can also go back to that question about what do we have in different grade band levels as well. You'll see we've got a K through 5, so geared towards our elementary students and really focused on that career exploration. We've got a whole middle school component here, really focused more on grades 6 through 8. And then high school defined careers is going to be more for, again, that high school level. So we've got those broken down by grade band, and I'm going to dig in here in just a second. We've also got a number of other different catalogs in here. We've got financial literacy. This is for grades 6 through 12. We know a lot of schools and districts out there and even states have requirements around financial literacy. And this has a whole collection of projects all related to and aligned to the national standards of personal financial literacy. So really a great addition um, for students and for those different types of courses or college career readiness courses that can be used. We've also got, in terms of other different tools that they can use, the post-secondary planning. So this is for grades 6 through 12 as well, thinking about those next steps after high school. So if we go in here, you'll see in grades 6, 7, and 8, we've got a number of different things here. Introduction and exploration. We've got skills on the jobs. We've got preparing for high school. And then high school is going to be more about those next steps as well, taking a look at whether they're are not going into college or going into, getting an internship, all of those types of things that can be used for that as well. And then the last different components that we've got here, some future ready skills. You'll see some of these when I highlight the virtual internships, and you'll hear kind of future ready skills a lot this year, this webinar. It was, of course, the theme. It's one of our pillars, and it's embedded in everything that we do at Defined. We're going to dig into the Defined at Work tools as well. And then finally, I mentioned the virtual internships that I'll give you a sneak peek of as well. But let's walk through one of the tasks. So I just clicked on high school. You'll see middle school is going to be broken up the exact same way. But this is all organized a little bit differently than what Defined Learning is, where that was really focused on the class and the courses and everything. This is really looking at the career clusters and those career experiences. So when I clicked in there, you're going to see all of these different catalogs. This is going to be the 14 nationally recognized career clusters. So these are already all set up and ready to go, organized by the career cluster framework that was recently updated across the country. So if we go into one of these career clusters, just go right into advanced manufacturing since that's at the top. Similar layout to Define Learning, but you're going to see the way that it is set up and the content area, the content that's in here is going to be a little bit different. Each unit is going to be one of our subclusters or pathways. So you've got all of the different subclusters within that particular cluster, and then you'll see each one of the different careers within each one of those subclusters as well. So we see we've got a ton of different careers all related back to that advanced manufacturing career cluster. So if I go into one of these career projects, if you've been with Defined Careers for the last about 5 years when it launched, we used to have a 5-lesson structure in order to move through learning about a career. We wanted to make sure that this was a similar user experience across both Defined Learning and Defined Career. So this has been adapted. The same content is still in there, but it's going to be looking and much more easy to take a look at and explore because it'll look just like Defined Learning. So that way, if you're used to that one already, you're going to see it's going to look pretty much the same. You're going to have that slide table of contents over here on the left. We're going to have the tabs that are available for Defined Careers, which is going to have the introduction, the products, the check-ins, and then, of course, we're going to have our slideshow. So a quick sneak peek of what this is. You're going to see there's a lot of similarities to Defined Learning, but we're really putting that career exploration and experience first for all of this, where we're going to have that career project. They're going to learn about the career cluster. They're going to be learning about the pathway. We've got check-ins all along the way. Again, having students do that right within the slides. Got education and a number of different job-specific things in that video. More check-ins. Of course, our goal, role, audience, and situation, which is common across both. We're going to have 2 different products that students can do. Our vocab, a lot of the things that you'd seen before. So we're really excited about that. Now, one of the things that we didn't have before at all was the ability to customize. So I do want to show you that, of course, and you have this same functionality in Defined Learning, but you've always been able to customize there. But let me show you how we can customize now in Defined Careers as well. So the first thing that we're always going to do is create a duplicate. You can always rename this however you want. I'm going to go ahead and click Begin. And then we're going to be able to customize everything that we've seen so far. I'm going to click Enable Editing. We can go down any of this stuff. that you've seen. Whenever you see this pencil, this is when you can start to edit it. If we wanted to change one of the products, a couple of different things that you can do. We've got this AI assist button, which is also new with our new unified platform. So I want to show a couple of these things because this is, like I said, this will also, you have all of this in Define Learning as well, but we've never even been able to customize before in Define Careers. If I click this, what we hear a lot is, you really need to be able to differentiate in your classroom much easier. So with this, we're trying to really help solve that problem. You can make things a little bit more enhanced. Maybe you're working with a gifted and talented group, or want something that's has a little bit more just up a higher grade level, however you want to do that. Or maybe you want to simplify it a little bit and bring it down. I just clicked that button and it's going to enhance this and give me a couple of different ideas for that particular product. So here we've got an enhanced content here. I can choose whether I like this. It's got design a simple floor layout for fulfillment center and kind of just makes it a much more bulleted list, a little bit easier for students to understand. Just one thing like that. If you like it, you can click replace or you can say start over. I'm just going to go ahead and click replace for demo purposes. And it went ahead and did that right within this, and it will automatically update the slides as well. A couple other really cool tools, and we've really enhanced the customization toolbar up here. One of the things that we've heard that people like, I'm just going to copy this. Of course, and once we get to the student side, I'll show you the read speaker tool where they can actually highlight this. But if you want to make it very overt and have something read aloud, you can take any of this and put in, I just put that whole paste, I copied it and pasted it, and it will take this text and convert it right to an audio file that will be available for students. So again, trying to make the content a little bit easier to understand.
To understand how a fulfillment center works.
So a very handy, accommodation tool that you can put in there. If you wanted to add some visuals, that's also an option. This little wand here. We can create an AI image. I'm just going to say warehouse. We can add that in there. We've got a number of different types. See, we want to just maybe add it as like a cartoon, different perspectives, all of that. We can really kind of enhance those products that are in there just with a few clicks. So we can see what it comes up with. It's building us a really good warehouse right now. So let me, no, that one didn't work. Let me try just house actually. Just for demo purposes here. There we go. So it'll do this. You can do it as many times as you want. We would want probably more of a warehouse. I was just doing that to make it easy. You can resize it however you want to do this. And there's a number of different items in this menu that you can start to add that has been enhanced over the last year that we're really excited about. So really wanted to make sure that you saw all of those differentiation tools with the AI in there, and a couple of different ways that you can also make that content yours and customize it for your classroom. So I'm going to click save. You'll see up here, you can always go in and customize the slides if you'd like. Any of those tools are there. But I was just going to go to this one because you can see everything that I just did down below is up here in the slideshow already. But if there were any additional changes to, or if you wanted to add any additional slides, you've always got that option too. So I'm going to stop editing. I'm just going to assign this to a student just so we can come back to that later. You can always assign by whole classes or by individual students. But there we go. That was kind of what the new, if we go into careers, we've got all of these different components all through K through 12 with additional collections in there of post-secondary financial literacy. and a number of additional tools as well. So I want to highlight a couple of other things here, but we'll likely, I'm going to show you that from the student side of some of these tools up here in terms of the simulated job boards and mock interviews and some other of the really cool tools that have been built out through over the last year too. So we will come back to those here in a little bit, but that's kind of the new layout and format of the whole project and how that's going to look and be displayed in Defined Careers.
Well, thanks, Lisa. That's a great overview and exciting how it's all together, certainly in one place, and you can make those connections really, really quick and seamless. So, the next area I wanted to ask you about was define goals. We talk about measuring what's most important to you, and including progress towards a portrait of a graduate, for example, or anything else, other characteristics that you're looking to measure, global competencies that you're looking to measure. What's new, and maybe a little bit of an overview on define goals as well.
Yes. So defined goals is really a customized implementation of either defined learning and or defined careers, and taking all of that awesome content. And like we've talked about is kind of a big theme of the webinar is future ready skills. There may be other things, and with the nature of the performance tasks as well as just being able to use PBL, we're able to measure a lot of additional things other than just the academic content, which we are also still measuring. But you'll notice if I go right into custom collections, this is where any different custom catalogs, and this is where defined goals would go. It's also where something that you can work with and I'm going to show our amazing partner experience team later on. But even if you're looking at just defined learning and defined careers as it is, and you want to maybe say, this would be a good college career readiness course, and I want to just build this out so that my students as well as my teachers know exactly what to do, this would also go in there too. But I'm going to show you in terms of defined goals because there's another whole level of customization that we can do that's really going to enhance data and analytics around all of those different competencies, which traditional assessments really can't measure. So you can see this is a customized catalog where we've gone through and kind of shown an example. Commonly, people like grade levels, but this is all everything you're seeing. If we can typically work with you on what structure would work best for you. But we've got this kind of broken down into a grade 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 example, where these were projects that we want maybe, for example, every single 6th grade math teacher to be doing in semester 1 and semester 2. And then this, like we said, this is just an example. Sometimes people like to do a project every quarter. Your cadence is really up to you, and it also depends on the skills that you're trying to measure. Like Andy mentioned, portraits of a graduate are a big thing with all of the different future ready skills that we're trying to do. We know that that's very common. It may be called something different. It may be an individualized learning plan. You may have something um, in Colorado, we have ICAP, the individualized career and academic plan. There's a lot of different places where we're measuring these skills. But you'll see what we've done in terms of this example. We've taken a look at how are we embedding all of these skills across, grades 6 through 10 in this example, and across all of the different content areas, as well as pulled in defined careers too, whether that might be in a CTE course. We've got this broken down in terms of the units being first and second semester. Again, we can work with you on that. But if I were to go into this, a lot of times people want to think, I want to focus on this particular skill in this particular course. And we really wouldn't advise having more than, certainly can practice, but in terms of assessing multiple skills in one particular area, that can be a lot when you're also trying to do the academic content. So that's why we have this broken down where, for example, math is looking at critical thinking. We've got communication and social studies. Then we're looking at creativity and science. So if I go in here, the main thing that has been customized is going to be the rubric. So you're going to notice a lot of the very same similarities that we've seen before, and I've already gone through the whole defined learning task as well as defined careers. But when I go into products, we've already just removed anything that we didn't want students doing. We're just going to say everybody's doing this exact same product. And when I go into the rubric, we have already added for you the critical thinking rubric component here. So this is where we can really start to not only, measure all of these different things. Can they calculate the mean? Are they being able to, draw a graph? but we're also looking into their critical thinking as well. And having all students do that same project is really going to give us a lot of good data. So we're able to take a look at all of those future ready skills across all of those different content areas. And this is going to be educator driven. Okay. This is where, the students are, of course, kind of driving their own learning because it is PBL and going to be hands on. But the educator is going to be the one that is going to be grading. You already saw our grade book as well. And what we're also then able to do is report on that. So when we customize, of course, everybody has the ability to customize a rubric. But when we're doing this as part of Define Goals, this is where the enhanced analytics is going to be. We're going to take a look at those performance indicators. I'm just going to click all of these. You've got a number of different filters. You can look at the schools. You can break down by grade levels, teachers and classes, break down by years. This is where you're going to be able to see how are my students actually performing in these future ready skills, in those core academic classes. For those career connections that you saw that were built into the units, those were defined careers course or tasks that were also built in there. So you can put both defined learning and defined careers all in the same unit. So they're doing career exploration across the board, but also embedded in those content areas. You'll see looking at this report, we've got 4 of them here, just as sample data. I can take a look and switch how I view this. In that example, we had first semester and second semester. So I'm just going to say every 6 months because we were really only doing 2. And you can see the average scores across, after those teachers and educators have gone in and scored their students in that, where they are with the collaboration or where they are with critical thinking and innovation and communication. And hope this is what we would want to see is that scores are hopefully they're improving across the board. But it's really a nice way to be able to dig in and see how are they doing, not only with the mathematics, in that example, but how are they also doing with these other future ready skills. Below is where you can dig into all of the individual data, seeing each student's score, seeing what project it was, what rubric was being used, what was the tag that we had put in for you in terms of the future ready skill that was in there, what that score was as well. And you'll see right now everything is downloadable as a CSV file too. So if you do need to use that data in other systems too. So that is kind of one half of Define Goals, is being able to have that component that's going to be the educator scoring on that future ready skills. The other component, and you've heard Andy mention it as well, would be the if you do have we always call it a custom plan because everybody has a different name of it, but being able to also measure progress, and that's going to be the student reflection side of it. So that would be something where if these were all tagged to a different component in a plan, and we'll get to that on the student side too, you could also have those artifacts attached there. So we'll show you that once we get into the student side too. But Define Goals is going to kind of bring in Define Learning and Define Careers. We're going to have that customized implementation and being able to look at the rubrics, get all of that data back, as well as have students have a self reflection component in their plan section.
Well, thanks, Lisa. And before we jump into the student side, just a couple of quick things. There were tons of great questions coming in. One was on standards alignment. I was going to mention, and you can, of course, probably improve upon my answer. But typically, as soon as a state or province or wherever you may be from approves a new curriculum or new standards or outcomes, once those are approved, we will have them posted in our service and aligned. There was a question on energy careers specifically, but yes, we have many projects around energy careers, and just that we have more than 600, close to 700 careers with multiple projects in each one. So you're going to find careers in most fields, but we're also creating custom content and creating new content for new careers as they're developed all the time. So those are a couple of questions I wanted to make sure that I answered. And then there was also a question around just measuring different future ready skills. Collaboration was mentioned, and I'll just say that we do measure just about everything from a future ready skill standpoint. work with so many different portraits or characteristics or global competencies that folks are interested in measuring. So yes, we have guiding documents, and it's an iterative process as we select the right projects for you. So I just want to make those, and I'm sure hopefully I didn't miss too. Hopefully I answered everyone's questions, and we'll get to any more, of course, that come in. So, with that, Lisa, I wanted to shift perspective a little bit. We've talked about students a lot, and that's what it's all about, right? So, there's been some incredible enhancements on the student side, the student experience, and I would just love for you to share a little bit about, what is that student experience like in the new platform?
Yeah, let's go ahead and dig in. I've kind of mentioned it too. I did bring up, since you brought up energy, just for that question, that is actually one of the new clusters. So I just went ahead and put that up here. You can see just in the unit outline, we have plenty of careers across both energy and natural resources. So I did just want to mention that, and you were spot on that. Yes, once a set of standards is adopted, there is usually an alignment process that does have to take. So it wouldn't be like that day, but it's usually within a few weeks or a month or so that it will will have that in there. So
Oh,
let's
and one last thing, Lisa, before you jump into the student side, I apologize. If you have a question come in, where did you showcase that sample project from Define Goals again? And just an audience member asked, and just to point that out, because it's really quick and easy to point out where you can find that.
Yeah, anything that we've customized is always going to be in the custom collections. So that had that critical thinking. That was just the example that we used, across the board here. And I just had gone in here, picked one of our tasks, and that's what it would look like for your district as well. However you wanted it called, we can put your logo in there and everything. And then, we had just already customized that rubric. So it's always in that custom catalog right there, and any other courses that, even if it was not part of Define Goals, we've done this for a lot of different customers too, whether it was an internship prep course or just different things where maybe you want to have common assessment across, all of your Algebra 1 teachers doing the same one, or different. I use math a lot because that's what I was a teacher here, but here we've got a couple of examples of an internship preparation course or career exploration course. All of those would be there too, where we do have that flexibility to pull in all of that as well. So yes, if you did have a custom catalog, it would be here. For any of our existing customers, you won't see that tab or that tile unless we do have a custom catalog for you. So that's where I found it. But like I said, that I'm showing everything, but it may not be there in terms of, if you're like, where did she go? That's why you don't have a custom collection. So that's why you probably wouldn't see it. But let's dig in and take a look at what it looks like from the student side of things here for a lot of this stuff. I'm going to go in as a student right here. This is what the student dashboard is. And what I just did, and you all have the ability to do this, is log in as a student. So for every one of your students, you can go in, you have your own demo student, and it's in that demo class that you can play around with. And then every other student, you can, of course, go in and see what it looks like on their side by clicking that login as button. So this is going to be the new student dashboard. If you are or were already an existing Define Careers customer, this should look familiar. We modeled it off of, we had updated the Define Careers dashboard and kept going with that, but it is going to look a little bit different if you were used to Define Learning. So all of the tasks that they have been assigned will show up right here. The four most recent that they've been in, they can go and see all of them right there by clicking on that button. But this is where they'll see anything that was assigned to them from either Define Learning or Define Careers right there in that tab. You'll see and I'm going to dig into this. That's why I kind of waited for the student side, but we're going to dig into like what a portrait of a graduate would look like on the student side. You're going to see if there is a custom career course, like if they have a career exploration course or something that you want the students to work through on a self-paced kind of setup with those units and projects, we can do that, and they can access that right here. See any of those course samples. Down below, we've got their portfolio that we'll dig into. We've got the experience summary, and this will just give a nice highlight of all of the different careers and clusters and sub-clusters that they've experienced, as well as where they experienced them, whether it was careers or Defined Learning. And we're going to dig into Defined at Work too, which has a number of different resources. But let's go ahead, and then on the left, you'll see, just like the teacher, dashboard. We've got a nice little navigation menu over here at the dashboard, the portfolio that we'll get into, as well as those plans too. But this was one of the tasks that I just assigned earlier today that we went in and were customizing, and you can see if you take a look at this, you're going to see it looks just like what we saw on the teacher side. There's just nothing down below. We do have the ability to add slide notes now. And this is where, as a teacher, I couldn't do it, but you can show right there that it has the ability to send in that check-in question. And then we get to the products. And this is where we had done that customization, added in an image. And so you can kind of see that was what we had done there. So just wanted to show, the submissions as well. They would just upload whatever their product was, and this will go right into their portfolio. Now, one of the other questions I know that came up earlier was about that translation as well as read along. So if I highlight this, you can see when I'm in as a student, you can click listen.
Amazon has started using different robotic machines to help with their fulfillment center operations.
So it will do read aloud, or you can do a dictionary tool and then translate. So we've got a whole list of different, languages here that students can go in, have this all translated. Spanish is the one we get asked about the most. And it's got that right there, and you can read aloud in Spanish as well.
Amazon ha comenzado a utilizar diferentes máquinas robóticas para ayudar con las operaciones de su centro logístico.
So lots of different accessibility features in there, along with the subtitles in the videos as well. So that is a look at just what the task will look like from that student view. They're going to see everything just like we went through already with the teacher side, with just a little bit, there's not going to be that stuff on the bottom that we saw. The portfolio, as they are uploading everything, of course, they are building their portfolio. This is going to look very similar to what they already had before. We did have that unified before, which we were thrilled with. And that's going to, of course, continue over to this unified platform where, as they're building this, they've got their resume, they've got their share link that they can copy and paste and send to anybody that they would like, whether it's a college or a parent or anything, got their experience, education, extracurriculars, and any of those products that they have uploaded and they want to choose to display will be there. And then their full catalog of everything that they've done and define careers, define learning, as well as any personal projects, anything outside of the platform. Maybe it's test scores or some sort of job shadow log. I've got a number of different examples in here, but that's what's going to be right there in their portfolio. Now, the last thing that I wanted to mention here was going to be these tools here, the Defined at Work. We're not going to hit all of these in the interest of time today, but just mentioning that, of course, we have updated the assessment, which we're really excited about, to provide specific career recommendations. We're going to take a look here at the simulated job board and interviews. This is something that is new that we're really excited about, to kind of help students kind of get a feel for looking for a job and some of the skills that are surround a job search and going out into the workforce. These are all going to be just kind of like we said, they are real positions in the world, but not actual ones that can be applied for right now. These are just to kind of be a simulated mock interview experience of jobs out there that are featured in real companies too. So if I were to go into one of these positions, we've got a job description just to kind of, get students used to thinking about what this would look like. You can click apply for position, which is going to have a place where they can upload a cover letter. We've got examples in there for them, upload a resume, and then submit that for review. Then we've also got a mock interview tool too, to help them with their interviewing skills. So we've got two different levels. I'll show you
Hi there.
quickly.
Thanks for taking the time to interview with us today. First, can you tell me a little about yourself and what interests you about becoming a junior chemical process engineer at Dow Chemical Company?
So you can see this is very much powered by AI. Students can either type in their response, or they can review, or they can record and it will collect it. Like, "Hi, my name is Lisa Wolf." And it will go ahead and transcribe it in there. Oh, and I didn't give it enough time. It only caught the last of my sentence there too. But then you can submit a response for each one. Just in the interest of time, I've already gone through an entire interview. What the students get after the fact is a full report. So it'll show what job they were interviewing for. It'll record all of their answers. So you've got a copy of that and can talk to them about it. It's a good counseling tool. And then we also the AI provides feedback too. So it'll kind of break it down. In this one, we've got relevance of answers, clarity, we got specific examples, and some areas for improvement. So kind of just a nice tool for students to be able to practice with that we're really excited about. The other career tools that I just want to highlight very quickly, we've got, that was an interview for a very specific career. If you want to take a look at and have students just kind of do more general interviewing, we've got a video as well as kind of digging into the STAR method and body language tips. These are all different questions that very similar to how I just recorded that. They can go in, either type or record the response and just do some more general interview prep as well. So those were some of the main things. We've got the simulated job board that we'll do with, we already did review prep. We've got a network builder and an elevator pitch builder. So a lot of really cool, we're not going to have time to get into everything today, but you can kind of see there's been a lot of different updates and enhancements and tools for students to really set them up for success here within defined careers. So that's what it looks like from the student side. I'll show very quickly what a plan would look like. We've been mentioning portrait of a graduate quite a bit, and this could be really anything though. I just have our defined portrait of a graduate, which has a lot of common attributes, and we can customize and use any attributes or whatever your plan may look like. You'll see we have just a general overarching bucket here, all of those different statements underneath it. And this is where students can go in, change the status, can kind of have a conversation with the educator back and forth with comments. We have the ability to add some custom questions, but this is again designed for that student to be replying to all of these. And then we've got the evidence section. So kind of going back to define goals and being able to, not only measure, and after a teacher has that rubric has been tagged to a specific attribute, it's going to go into that report in terms of critical thinking. But if we're also in critical thinking in our portrait of a graduate, that can show right up here in evidence as well after that's been graded. Or students can submit their own evidence of anything that's in their portfolio. So lots of good stuff that they can do with the plan. But just to give you a highlight there, you do have the ability to have multiple in here. So lots of different functionality that we can do with that plans feature as well. So that is the gist of everything on the student side, Andy, but I don't know if anybody has any other questions that have popped up from that.
There's a couple that they've been flying in. I've been trying to answer on the fly, so I certainly won't get to all of them, Lisa. But a couple that I didn't get to, we're talking about how to assign different projects to students, and one of the questions came up was, how do you generate a URL? And actually, we do that for you. In each project, there's a button you can press that will generate a URL for you for your students if you're not integrated with an LMS or are not rostered. But typically, we will roster all students and provide you with access to whatever students you support in order to assign any projects. I know we're running low on time, so I'm gonna try to answer the rest of the questions. Lisa, there was a quick question on just how do I access the custom content that was, a custom catalog that was back a little bit, but that really is on the front page. So anybody that has a login to Defined will be able to see that. Okay, so just moving on real quick, and again, I'll be looking through the chat to answer the rest of the questions. But we also wanted to at least briefly get to Defined Academy, all the things that are utilized to support educators in this type of teaching and learning. And we have all kinds of different options, but we're focusing on what's new, perhaps, Lisa. What can our educators expect out of Defined Academy this fall?
Yeah, this is another thing that we're just really thrilled about is just being able to offer this again in the same platform. So everybody just has a one-stop shop. So over here is going to be the Academy tile, and everybody has access to Defined Academy because everybody now has access to our brand new Getting Started with Defined Careers course. So I'll start with this one, and I'm going to give you just a very high level overview of everything else that's being on there. But we know educators are busy, but we want to make sure that everybody knows how to use the platform. And we, of course, still have knowledge base, and that has been updated as well. You can always go there to support.definedlearning.com. But this is going to be a structured, really kind of self-paced course that an educator can go through to learn how to use all of just the basics. So how do I customize a task? How do I find? How do I search? A lot of the things that I showed in this webinar. So if I click in here, you're going to see that we use the exact same layout and structure that we do with all of our, with Defined Learning and Defined Careers. You'll see the unit outline over here, kind of going over the basics of the defined platform, being able to navigate a lot of the things that we really went over. Performance tasks, how to customize, how to create, all of these different components, a lot of them that we've talked about. And these are structured with all of these are what we call micro learning modules. Each one takes about 10 to 15 minutes because we wanted these to be short, to the point, but very effective, making sure educators know how to do these things. And it's always a nice thing to refer back to as well. Like, how do we do this? Maybe you've gone through some of our in-person training as well, but it's nice as a refresher. So you're going to see it set up in those units, all of those different topics. Each one, very similar to what we did in Defined Learning and Defined Careers. Set up, got our slides over here on the left. They're all going to follow this learn, practice, and reflect framework. So you'll see this right here where you're going to learn, how do I navigate? It's going to talk all about it. Then there's going to be a practice. Then you have to reflect. And this is where teachers are doing their own checking questions. So this is where they're going to have to actually go ahead and respond to all of these. But that is what we're really excited to be able to offer, those defined career or defined, getting started with defined course. We have a separate one that, of course, is universal across both defined learning and defined careers is what this is, just kind of managing and being able to navigate that whole platform. We have another module that's specific just to defined careers, because as you saw, there was a lot of other different things that they could do within here. It talks a little bit more about the assessment, those defined at work components that we talked about. And so different things that are there. We also have micro-credentials that are associated with both of those too. And that's where teachers need to demonstrate their competency with that. Now, there's been a few other offerings. I'm just going to mention those very quickly too that we're also very excited about. Our Future Ready Skills courses. So, the name of this webinar was Building a Future Ready Classroom this year, building those future ready skills. It's one of our pillars here. These are all usually skills that are in a portrait of a graduate. This is universal across all of the defined platforms. So defined learning and defined careers, of course, defined goals. But these are going to be courses around each one of those skills. And these are, again, for educators this time. So they're all going to be set up the same way. Foundations of the skill, being able to kind of cultivate that skill in the classroom, as well as assessing and reflecting on those particular skills. So we're very excited about those, as well as being able to take a look at the content connections, which is taking a look at, this is specific to defined learning, but it's how do I use defined learning in a math classroom, in a science classroom, in a computer science, in an ELA. It's going to be in that context, broken down into both secondary and elementary examples. So these are two new libraries that we're thrilled to be able to introduce. Those are bundled together, Future Ready Skills and Content Connections, and actually do have a promo going on those through the end of the year. So if you're interested in those, let us know. We'd love to walk you through those. And then the very last thing that we have, and that we have had for quite some time, is micro-credentials. So we're building this up as well. So a way for educators to really demonstrate their competencies throughout all of these and demonstrate their learning with all of this. And everything that they submit is third-party verified. That comes back to a defined official team member who works with them to make sure that they can earn that badge. So you can see we've got a number of different micro-credentials here, one for each future ready skill, one for all of the content connections, and ones that are specific to HQPBL, so that high quality project-based learning. So that is a very, very quick overview of all of the offerings, and I'll put this back up here just so that everybody can see that. But those were our 4 virtual offerings that I walked through very quickly. But we're very, very excited to be able to offer those on the unified platform as well. And then teachers are able to then track all of that in their educator portfolio. So this is where any of their badges they're earned, as well as being able to keep track of, I know I had to keep track of continuing education units and being able to track all of that too for my recertification. So this will be very helpful for that as well. So that was a very quick overview of Defined Academy there, Andy.
Yep. Thank you, Lisa. And, of course, the updates you shared are incredible. The partners I've spoken with are excited about the platform. Seen a lot of great comments in the chat. A lot of those questions and comments were support related. Would mind sharing a little bit about the support resources that we've built in all these different areas to help support our partners?
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that you heard us talk a lot about like customizing a catalog, and we went back multiple times about going to that custom collections, and we've got just an amazing support team. We've got our academy that is now really built up, and you've got, of course, you're getting started, but you've got your whole team here to really help you with utilizing Define. So wanted to make sure and mention them as well before we wrap up.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa. And just we're getting ready to conclude. And the one of the things that wanted to share was just we want to invite all of our partners and people that are getting new to it, learning about us for the first time, to share their career connected classroom experiences. You can share it via video, you can share it written. There's a lot of different ways. You can check out the QR code and how you can submit and have the opportunity to win a $100 gift card. In addition, I wanted to make sure we mentioned the Defined Difference Maker winners from this past school year. And Laura Gray, congratulations. Jennifer Sherman, as well as Heidi Castile-Bearden. We did some incredible work this year, and thank you for your submissions. And so we're happy to announce you as the Defined Difference Maker winners, and we look forward to seeing all your submissions in the coming school year as well. So just to kind of to wrap up, and again, thank you for all the exciting updates. It was really a wonderful presentation, Lisa, and we want to just to quickly recap the enhancements you shared around Defined Learning and Defined Careers, including new content, new features, seamless integration between services, defined goals, and custom catalogs, custom content upgrades, including on the Portrait of Graduate progress tracking, alignments of projects to your curriculum or pacing guides, and of course, custom course creation to organize the defined content in a way that you would like to, enhancements on the student experience around career exploration, career experience, including the job board, mock interviews, and connections to local and national employers, and of course, the exciting updates around Defined Academy, including the self-paced modules. We'd also like to welcome and invite everyone to join us for the next upcoming opportunity to connect with other educators around deeper learning. And that is coming up on November 6th at 3 p.m. The first session that we have we're going to meet some incredible educators, John Gusta and Nick Garcia from Cherokee County, Georgia, Dr. Tracy Pritchett from Terrell ISD. And all this is going to be hosted by our terrific superintendent residents, Dr. Melvin Brown. We certainly hope you'll be able to join us for that session, as well as the subsequent deeper learning sessions for this year. So that's it for now. Thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed the webinar. We've enjoyed being with you today, and we hope everyone has a terrific day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.